Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I am April Martinez.
And I am Isana Keretano.
Good morning, good morning. Starting your morning, your week right on Open Your Eyes.
You look like you're slow to rise this morning.
I am slow to rise this morning. It was a very, very relaxing weekend. I think I'm still in that chill mode, sleep mode, feeling, yeah.
You have to get out of it, man. Because
I've get out of it.
my understanding is that you're back at work already too. So aside from your Channel 5 assignment in the mornings, you have to head over to UB and get your day going.
Yes, we are back face to face. And you know, this show, it sounds like it's tedious in the aspect of you have to get up early and start your morning fresh and bright. But honestly, it does give you that booster. So while I am here, as I'm gradually waking up and starting my morning right with all of you, by the time we are through, I am 100% awake and ready for the day. So
that's good.
It does its due diligence. It does. I'm still sleeping.
Well, unlike you, April, I woke up pretty energized and
yes, I know you're ready. You're
Yes,
ready. You even comb your hair a little bit.
Comb?
Yeah, even comb your hair.
I don't know what that is.
But yes, I mean, the weekend in itself was very packed with excitement. There was a lot to talk about, and of course we'll get into it more on Eye on the News. I don't know if you got that Jerk Fest.
No, quite honestly. And I don't want to sound like the old man in the room here, but that chapter of my life is long behind me.
Yeah.
So those kinds of like concert events and stuff, I'm no longer engaged with or really have that kind of interest.
I mean, I was going to go, and then there was some other stuff that happened this weekend, but it looked like it was a very good time. It looked like a lot of people went out there, and from the reviews, it seems that the more and more we have these kinds of events and festivals and different promotions that come along with it, it seems that we're gradually boosting our Belizean entertainment, which is a plus for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, and perhaps I'll go on record saying this, right? So we've had 2 concert events within the past 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I didn't really attend any of the 2, but the one that I'm looking forward to and the one that I'm likely going to attend is the Sir Barry Bowen's Belizean Fest.
Okay.
Simply because, one, it's promoting a Belizean brand all the way through, and the lineup of Belizean artists that will be performing also deserve my support. So it's a 3-day event as far as I'm aware, and so I think it's either 2 or 3 days, let me put it that way. So guaranteed that of those 2 days over the course of the weekend, I will be
there.
at one. Yes.
Yes, I like that. I think perhaps that's the one I might attend.
The money stays in Belize.
The money stays in Belize, right? But you know, as of late, and I don't know if it's my old age coming to get me, but it's the most I've been seeing these kinds of promotions when it comes to Belizean artists and Belizean entertainment for the past few years. It's always been we're hyped up for international entertainment. And this year, it seems that we're kind of more focusing on what we have to offer here at home. Yes, we're still putting it alongside international entertainment, but I think that's just to hype up the crowd a little bit more, right? These concerts, they go on till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I can't do that anymore, but it's nice to see that we have that engagement in our population.
I think this as well, if you're looking at it in the round, is a call for Belizean talent to step it up another notch.
Yes.
When you have a Belizean artist opening for a regional or international act.
It's a big deal.
You know, the audience sees you first while they are preparing and getting amped for the headliner. And so you have the task of keeping getting the attention, keeping the rapt attention of your audience.
Hyping it up. And
hyping it up for the next artist that's coming behind. And so when you look at the caliber of the performances, you know, there's a lot that needs to go into preparing oneself as an artist. Because we look at it as, and it's sad and ironic but true, we look at it as the Belizean artist is always on the undercard. Like they, you know, and it's for me, high time for us to step up our game.
Honestly, I didn't attend Jerk Fest. I attended one of the days for the Belize Music Fest in San Pedro. And I have to say, and I think I had mentioned this on the show already, that I was so proud to see our Belizean performers. They did so well. They hype up the crowd. They were hyped themselves. I think one of my favorite parts, I think I went on Saturday, one of my favorite parts was watching Kyle and Ely on stage with DeMarco at the same time. And they were both really solid performances together. So it wasn't just a Belizean artist opening for, but it was that performance with an international artist that 100% made the difference, right? And he set a stage name for himself. I mean, he already had a stage name, but that night kind of amplified the level of entertainment and service that he could provide. So, you know, we're getting there slowly, and seeing these festivals kind of just makes you, it makes you proud. It gives you that sense of pride. We always talk about talent. We always talk about, we have with Belizean people, and seeing them perform makes a world of difference. But we'll have more of that as September celebrations rolls around. I think that's going to be a jam-packed month. I don't know what September looks like here at Channel 5.
April, I'll tell you the truth, right? I'll be perfectly honest with you here. My only thing right now is that August is taking too long. And when I looked at the calendar recently, it's a 5-week month, right? And I'm already prepared for August to go by so that we could start September and really get back outside. But
I feel like September is a jam-packed month filled with so many things, and as soon as it comes, it goes by so quickly. We have a few holidays in and between the month, and of course all the festivals and all the festivities. I don't know how you guys cover all of what happens in September.
Well, there's a calendar of events, right? And there's where we begin from.
I know it's a calendar of events, but I don't know if you're aware, but like every single community across country has like their own small little festivals and their own small little carnivals, and they all highlight Belizean pride in their own ethnical, cultural way. And if you do like a road trip throughout September, you get to see all of those bits and pieces of that doesn't make the news, right? And that in itself it's a lot.
Traditionally, Belize City has been the epicenter of all the September celebration activities. And even though there's been a move to kind of, you know, hold certain events in certain places outside of the city, for the most part, we're still very much centralized here. When you look at the Carnival Road March, you look at all these other activities during the month of September, they're very much held in Belize City. And you have people from other parts of the country who come into Belize City to participate in these events, which is also good. I mean, it's always a great thing to have people from out district come in and you know, celebrate that Belize City vibe.
I mean, I only ever gone to Carnival one time, and it was a lot for younger me to take in, and so I'll see how you guys handle that. I think that Channel 5 September celebrations is going to be an experience, I'm going to say.
Well, it begins with the coverage of the Carnival Road March. My understanding is that it's set for the 3rd of September, right, which means that our team here, more than likely, has to come up with a plan of how we will approach and cover it, considering the fact that we haven't done so for a while, thanks to the COVID pandemic. Right? So it'll be a return to the road, so to speak.
I wish you the best of luck with that. But we're going to get moving into our show for this morning on that positive note and bring you the eye-opener for this lovely Monday morning. And our eye-opener is taken from dailyom.com. And it goes like this. Creating and expanding your own inner light is a simple way of tending to your own energy field. Life presents us with many opportunities to gain mastery in tending our own energy fields. At times, we may want to protect ourselves by using energy shields of color, light, or angelic presence. Or in order to become more grounded, we may run energy down through our feet, our first chakra, rooting ourselves to the earth. Sometimes it's appropriate to play openly with others in an expansive, flowing state, and at other times we may want to limit our availability to a chosen few. In certain public environments, such as graduation ceremonies, work conventions, or even weddings, it may be important to remain open-hearted and able to connect, while still preventing our individual systems from depletion or overwhelm. In these situations, rather than putting a barrier between ourselves and the world around us, we can fill our energy fields from the inside out. In doing this, we become so filled with our own personal energy that no room is left for outside influence or discordant energy to enter in and affect us.
I think for the person who may not necessarily be familiar with energy, the transfer of energy, and the overall concept of energy fields, this eye-opener may be a little bit too much. I'll be the first to say
The
that.
chakra.
Now, breaking all of that down, right? I'll go to the specific example where the eye-opener refers to being in attendance at certain public gatherings, a wedding event, a graduation, or what have you. Those events or activities, particularly when you look at a wedding or a graduation, those are activities that are being held where people are generally happy.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment, either for a young couple or someone who has completed an academic course or what have you. And so the atmosphere is generally festive.
Happy, yeah.
Right? So you can't be the one to enter that space with negative energy, such that if you're having a good day and perhaps you're just in this crabby mood or whatsoever, that particular energy that you enter that space with can rub anyone that you come into contact with the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because they are there to celebrate.
You're happy.
And you're there being
your
miserable
energy
and grumpy
messed
and,
up. Yeah.
Right? More so if there are people within that space that you're not familiar with. This is where the first impression comes into play. And when you are exuding that negative energy, then the way the other individuals look at you like, okay, why come to a wedding
if you're miserable
to rain on the parade, or if you're miserable or what have you? You're better off being away and deal with your own issues outside of this particular circle. Right? And that's how I look at this eye-opener in the context of energy. Right? Energy has to do with mood. Energy has to do with a certain state of mind or an emotional state and what have you. And it can be easily transferred depending on who you're with and who you're around. Again, if you're in a relationship, for instance, and you wake up for whatever reason on the wrong side of the bed, if your partner is beaming in the morning and you are just, well, leave me alone.
Yeah. But it goes the same in the morning show, right? Like if one of us are half energy or low energy, it doesn't set for a very good, because even if you are hype or the other person is not hype, you might not end up feeling as hype anymore because of the low energy. And then that kind of spreads to the rest of the crew. And then of course you at home will feel maybe April and Isani they're not vibing the same way this morning, and you can tell, right? So yeah, absolutely. The energies that we give off on each other will transcend off from one another, and then of course for you at home that is watching, you will feel that energy too, even through your screen, which is a very powerful state
Yeah.
of when you're talking about energy flow and so on.
I try not to be too happy-go-lucky or too stern and stiff. I try to find, that energy somewhere in between the two.
Isani came in very happy-go-lucky this morning. I'm making you fool you. He was very, very smiles this morning. So,
Yeah.
but it's all good. We are very happy to be here. That happy energy flowing through and coming through you through the screen. But we're gonna get moving into our show for this morning with the weather forecast. We had very strange and iffy weather last week, kind of flowing into the weekend. I don't know how the weather was like here in Belize City, but it was relatively fair. I was able to do laundry and hang some clothes outside, and it was hot. It was very hot in Belmopan. I'm not sure about the temperatures here.
It was pretty hot yesterday.
Yeah. Was it raining?
It rained, excuse me, it rained a bit on Saturday night.
Okay.
Right, but that was the only shower, well, in my neck of the woods, that was the only shower that we experienced in my neighborhood, or my part of Belize City. I think it was, for the most part, the majority of Belize City. I'll go on.
Yeah, I think I heard it rained a little bit at the festival, but rain no stop the reggae jam, right, as they say. So,
Yeah.
but the weather forecast for this morning, we're gonna give you the general situation for today, and the general situation is slightly moist conditions prevail, but mostly fair weather will prevail by this evening.
The 24-hour forecast: sunny with cloudy spells today, along with a few showers and isolated thunderstorms, mainly over southern and inland areas, with showers decreasing later this afternoon. Partly cloudy tonight, with only isolated showers.
All right, our temperatures are highs for today along the coast, 88 degrees Fahrenheit, inland 93 degrees, and in the hills, 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
Our lows for tonight: along the coast is 80 degrees, inland it's 72 degrees, and in the hills 66 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, and our marine conditions are winds east to northeast at 5 to 15 knots, and the sea state is light chop.
All right, so the outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night calls for mainly fair and warm, with the chance of an isolated shower or thunderstorm developing.
Okay, well, there doesn't seem to be any tropical updates for today.
No advisories at the moment.
No advisories at the moment, but it looks like there's still fairly weather along the Caribbean and the Central American region, so hopefully we won't have to worry about anything for the next 24 hours.
All right, and with that we say thank you to forecaster in duty, Derek Rodon.
All right, and we're getting into our show for today, but before we get into all of the previews for this morning, we have our eye on the news.
On Saturday afternoon in the village of Gales Point, there was a public consultation held with residents of that community. And as many of our viewers would know, that there has been an issue brewing between the villagers and a company that is proposing to acquire land within the general vicinity of Gales Point for the purpose of carrying out an aggregate development. I'll put it that way. And so there was a public consultation held on Saturday afternoon where my colleague Marian Ali attended. And at the public consultation, you have principals of Vulcan, which is the company we're talking about here, and of course there you see the residents and the people who came out to meet with these individuals. Now, the primary concern here is one of an environmental nature, where the residents are staunchly opposed to this proposed development. I use the word development loosely because we're not talking about the construction of buildings or what have you. We're talking about aggregates, where you're breaking down material, right, that can be used for construction and other purposes. Now, my understanding is that there is this move by Vulcan to purchase a property, a tract of land that is called White Ridge Farms. And I'm saying that this is situated within the general environs of Gales Point.
Yeah.
And so their concern, as I'm saying, is what environmental impact, if any, this kind of activity will have on the environment. Now, when you look at it from a broader perspective, Gales Point is a unique community within the Belize district. When you look at the fact that this body of water, the lagoon, and then the Caribbean Sea not far away, and what this means in terms of its ecological value and how these people make a living off of it.
Yeah.
I can remember off the top of my mind two things. One, Jamal Galvez comes to mind immediately, the Manatee Man, right? Because there was this documentary that I could recall where he was doing work with residents of Gales Point to work with, you know, preserving
the manatee,
this marine mammal. That's one. And two, I can also think of Mr. Andrewin, who does work with the turtles, right? And so they are saying, look, we don't know what this company is up to, but we care for our environment and we can't afford to have this kind of activity threaten the natural environment that Gales Point is known for. That is one thing. What has also been reported in the news is the fact that this company has conducted similar operations in Mexico. And to the best of my understanding, there were some legal issues in Mexico with Vulcan and its operations there as well. So these are things that people are looking at. So we're saying, look, there is a healthy concern on our part that whatever is being done in Belize is sustainable, it's environmentally friendly, or what have you. But again, this is somewhat at a preliminary phase. We're not all the way there yet where the land has been acquired and the operation has begun.
Right, but I think I was saying to you earlier that this particular movement to stop the Vulcan mining, as it would have been, was gearing up from last year. This was something that people were constantly talking about, were afraid to happen from last year. I think around October or so, people started to protest against this. And the reality is that you have two factors here, right? One is, how do we continue to progress without harming our environmental and our cultural nature in Belize? And then two, how are we certain that this is going to be a valuable thing for us as Belizeans? And those are always the factors whenever we're having any kind of industrial companies come in, foreign industrial companies that come in and want to, you know, utilize the land space that we have. I will say this, we never have transparent conversations with any kind of developing companies that come into Belize. Never. They come in, they take the land, they create buildings, and then next thing you know, things are going sideways, right? And so for this particular incident, for this particular movement, for them to have tried to get behind this from last year, I'm very proud that we're seeing more activism happening more and more. But the reality of the unknown, I think, is what is scary for us. Why is it that we can't ever get proper information from the very beginning? What they plan to do, what they want to do, how they plan to utilize the services from the persons around them, because they're talking about getting new jobs for persons and so forth, but how? What are you planning to do? And those are always the things that scares us. And then we question it, we do protests, we do these acts of activism, and then it happens anyway, right? They still fall through, they still go through, they still go ahead with it. And then they say it's for the betterment of the community, but we don't see that actively happening in Belize. So what then is the solution to this problem?
Well, that's a good question. I think that is left to the powers that be. In this case, it's the government of Belize to work with both parties, so to speak. What I'm looking at, April, is the fact that while there's a proposal for job creation, if you're looking at the community as economically depressed and you are able to create jobs, you're able to, spur some kind of economic stimulus in that small community, that is fine, but it should not come at the expense of the environment.
Yeah.
And I think that is one of the underlying factors here, that while perhaps we're welcoming the fact that, jobs will be created for residents of that surrounding area, you can't do that if it is a detriment to nature, right? So my colleague has more from this that we will be presenting in our evening newscast. There's also another issue that is brewing, and this is over at the audit department.
Yeah.
You will recall that the post for the Auditor General has not been filled.
Still,
right?
yeah.
Since Dorothy Bradley retired some time back, we're still without an Auditor General. And this has been raised as a point of concern from the Joint Public Accounts Committee, right? But on a departmental level, there is a letter that will be submitted, formally tendered to CEO Rolando Zetina this morning from senior members of staff at the audit department, where several concerns are being raised, including the fact that there are a number of posts that are presently vacant. And so their primary concern is the last time when there were about 11 or so posts that were made vacant, these senior members were glassed over in favor of junior members of staff who are now their supervisors. And they are saying, look, there are certain criteria for one to be elevated, in a manner of speaking, to this particular level, where you have to have years of experience and you also have to have the academic background or the actual degree that goes along with it. Now, if we can pause there with the full screen for a second and allow me to read a portion of the letter again. This is written to CEO Rolando Zetina of the Public Service and Religious Affairs Ministry.
Yeah.
It says here, as dedicated auditors from the Office of the Auditor General, we are very concerned about the poor, insensitive, and ineffective administration of our office. Of particular concern is the process applied to fill vacant positions. For example, between the 15th and 18th of October 2021, several vacant positions were advertised and filled. However, it is our firm opinion that perfectly qualified and experienced staff were overlooked and unfairly superseded by very junior, inexperienced, and unqualified staff. This is in direct contravention of the Belize Constitution, Public Service Regulations, Sections 38, and the Selection and Recruitment Manual, therefore illegal. It goes on to cite that portion of the Constitution, and furthermore, it goes on to say, as it relates to the posts for Supervisor of Audit, the persons who were, quote unquote, selected are not only very inexperienced, but they do not even meet the qualification and other requirements outlined in the advertisements. The position calls for a master's degree or 5 years experience as an examiner of accounts, 1, or a bachelor's degree with 5 years in a senior position. Some members of staff who received those positions did not satisfy any of those requirements, but were somehow approved for the post. On the other hand, we have very competent and highly qualified staff who meet all the requirements, but were totally disregarded. we are now left with a situation where very inexperienced, unfit, and unqualified staff are supervisors to staff who are well trained, well qualified, and with over 15 to 30 years of experience. More insulting, though, is the fact that despite being in the technical field, individuals from outside who have no experience in public auditing are brought to become supervisors over well-trained and highly qualified staff. We believe that these practices are unfair, demoralizing, and undermining to our staff. And it goes on from there. So we're saying now that there are new vacancies that have come up, and they are trying to avoid a recurrence of what happened previously, where junior staff were bumped up over the existing staff who have all of these years of experience. Now, that letter has been signed by a number of senior members of that department, and they're only waiting for 2 more signatures, if I'm not mistaken, simply because my understanding is that those individuals were out with COVID last week, and so they're waiting, I guess, for later this morning for them to show up at work, have the signatures affixed to the document, and then it will be sent to the CEO. I also understand that the Public Service Union is fully aware and apprised of what's going on over at the audit department as well. So this is something that we're going to be following up with. As I've mentioned, it's against the backdrop that there is presently no Auditor General. And so the department has been functioning with a deputy or someone who's perhaps holding over in that post.
I think that this kind of situation, I like that we're coming up with it, just because we see it time and time again happen where somebody's appointed politically or so forth, and then they get the seat without any kind of experience and so forth. So I can appreciate this coming from the staff. I want to know what the holdup is. You know, why is it that we're taking so long? Is it that we don't have anybody? And clearly we have people that are able and capable. So again, what's the holdup? And that it's the only people in the higher up can answer that question, truthfully. So we will follow this on and see what the PSU will have to say afterwards. Yeah, let's hope that we can get somebody in as quick as possible. It's already going for what, 6 months? More?
Perhaps well over.
More than 6 months that we haven't had an Auditor General, and that in itself will come with some discrepancies afterwards.
The final topic that I wanted to raise as well is the fact that the United Democratic Party held a National Party Council meeting on Saturday. And we all saw what transpired last week Monday to be exact, where a letter was written to College Area Representative and former party leader Patrick Faber, effectively removing him from his seat on the Central Executive Committee. And there is this back and forth between Faber, opposition leader Cheyenne Barrow, and Albert Area Representative Tracy Panton. They are the more vocal of the 5 elected members of Parliament. And this intra-party feud continues on, and we're saying, look, bad enough that it's only 5 of them that were elected to central government, and there is a supermajority in the House because of that. When you're fighting amongst each other, you're not putting up a unified front at all to effectively oppose perhaps some of the more contentious bills and some of the other issues that are arising in the face of government administration. And so I think it's a disservice to the Belizean public when you have issues like this that fester and carry on for too long, because we're not really being effectively represented, so to speak.
Agreed. And I think that as we're not feeling it right now, because we haven't even talked about like elections and so forth, but next thing you know, general elections will be here again. And you know, it doesn't really help the average person when we don't have the options, right? And you as a person of that it has the right to vote might not be necessarily centered to PUP or UDP, but it's always good to have that opposition when it comes to government, because it helps you to expand your ideas and opinions on the issues that are at hand, right? How are you as this particular person in this particular area going to help to serve better? How are you going to raise issues and fix it? If I am unsatisfied with the current government and what they're doing, and there's no opposition that is able to give me that hope that there is something else or somebody to fight for the issues, then you are left with only one option, really. And that is why you always need an opposition and a leading government, right? And it's kind of messing with the balance when it comes to our democracy, because if at the end of the day, if they can't get their act together, then who are we going to have opposing in the elections that are going to come up, right? So yeah.
When you look at that situation, however, the chairman of the party is on record as well to say that, look, this has happened in the past, where when you look at what happened with the People's United Party immediately following the 2008 loss at the polls, they were in a state of disarray for quite some time before they got their act together to form a viable opposition. Now, I'm not a pundit or a political analyst per se, but while yes, that may be true with another party, in this case, when you're looking at, you know, a new young leader taking the helm of the party, and perhaps some of the philosophies that the others are traditionally used to and they hold on to, that creates certain fundamental differences. And in this case, some are saying, look, you're going away from the constitution of the party, which is sacred to them. This is the actual way in which you do things based on this set of laws, so to speak. And when you deviate from that, then it creates an issue. So it's going to be interesting. We plan to speak with some of these individuals today to see what became of the NPC and what was the general consensus on certain matters.
I mean, I just wanted to also say that yes, it's true that we have seen these kinds of issues time again, but it doesn't do well for us. And I mean it in the sense that we have this thing in Belize when it comes to our democracy, where we don't tend to abide by our constitutional rights anyway. And that's why we end up having parties or prime ministers that serve longer terms than they should, because there is no steadiness when it comes to an opposing government. The reality is that in order for you to progress with your democracy, you need to have that balance of opposition and government. And if you don't have it, you will wind up always with the same persons having the same issues without any productivity, right? So you do need that. So yes, that might be the case where when you had the 2008 elections and the PUP was a mess, you don't want to have that mess again. It throws off the balance of your country's progress. You need to have a stable opposition. And so with that, I say, get your act together. You have to be able to come together. If you are going to be bound by tradition all the time with certain sacredness of the constitutions, you're not going to progress. The fact that the United States hasn't revised their 1700s constitution and they're living in 2022 is an act for some serious questionable concepts. You have to be able to change and adapt to the environment that you are in. So with that, I say, if that's the way that they want to go, have a conversation, right? If that's the way the PUP is going to go afterwards, have that conversation. You can't stick to the old things all the time. Tradition is good, but your environment is changing. You have to adapt to the new times, just to say my opinion.
Which is fair. I mean, let's be real though. You have certain fundaments upon which these things are built or based, right? You do have specific fundaments, right? These are the basic principles upon which these things are built. But we're also saying that these constitutions, these sets of rules and regulations that govern the way how things are, ought to be fluid in a manner of speaking, or living, as we'd say, right? Where certain adjustments are made accordingly, given the times and given the change or shift in philosophies, right? Because with a new leader comes a new way of thinking, right? And so you have to be flexible to some extent to, you know, work with that, with the whole idea of something new being brought to the fore, right? So it's an interesting thing when you look at politics in Iran and how these things affect representation at the government level.
It does, but it also then trickles down to us. We feel the pinch afterwards. And so I want to say that it's healthy to have a stable opposition with a progressive government in power. You have to have that balance. Otherwise, what is democracy then?
Yeah.
Right? But we'll have more of these stories on our newscast tonight. And that does it for Eye on the News. And with that, we head into our show for this morning. Our first conversation would be about the Equality Fellowship of 2022, and we will have in studio our circle to discuss all about that as we move along.
Our second conversation this morning will be with Queen of the Bay 2022, Maslin Hanson, who will be joining us in studio to talk about her victory and, of course, the way forward for her as the new Queen of the Bay.
All right, and our final conversation will be with members of the NAPF Regional Classic Powerlifting Champions. They'll be talking to us about their experience in that competition. It should be very exciting. But before we get into all of that, we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll have more of OYE. So stay tuned.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Deja mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belizean te hace la vida más fácil.
Make your summer better. Over $35,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Purchase any device, sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan, use $50 or more regular prepaid credit, do a SIM swap, or text to the short code. You win 8946. And in the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase. Each entry costs only 50 cents.
Don't waste any time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes starting July 1st. All methods give you more chances to win. Airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize of a $10,000 shopping spree courtesy Court and Smart.
Promotion ends September 16, 2022. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Summer is coming to an end, so let's end it with a bang. Come see kids from all over the country while they take center stage to show off their talent on Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2022. That's right. Mark your calendars Friday, August 26th at 6:30 a.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive. Come and start your morning right with kids singing and dancing. Also, come take advantage of great food, entertainment, and loads of back-to-school giveaways, including gifts for the first 100 kids who enter the fest. And the best thing of all, entrance is free. So, what are you waiting for? Set your alarm and pencil in that date because Summerfest 2022 is one event you don't want to miss.
Your Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 4.
KTV.
Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5. Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
And welcome back. Our first conversation this morning is with our circle as the representatives of our circle discuss the Equality Fellowship 2022. That being said, we have with us in studio this morning Danae Fairweather. She's the board president for our circle. Good morning, Danae.
Good morning.
We also have joining us virtually this morning Daricia Castillo Salazar. She's the managing director of our circle. Good morning, Daricia.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Let's begin first of all by getting an understanding of our circle and what is its purpose and how it was founded.
Okay, so our circle is the primary organization or the primary NGO that focuses on the advancing equality for LGBT formed families or families formed by LGBT persons in Belize. So that is one of our primary targets for our circle. We focus on any issues facing LGBT families, persons living within those families, and how can we address the issues that these families are facing.
How did this all come to be? How did the concept of creating this organization and manifesting it become?
I think Daricia is the
Let's
best
go, Daricia.
Well, as one of the co-founders of our circle, we were in an era where we felt as if though the work that was being done for LGBT persons was being done individually. Majority of it was being done from a health perspective. And we found that when it came to relationships, when it came to family, that wasn't a conversation that was being done or being acknowledged for LGBT persons here in Belize. So it was myself and my partner at the time, Mr. Paul Schmidt, and his partner at the time, and Ms. Rashani Zagiri and her partner at the time, who decided that we wanted to create a space where it was more than just our health issues, where it was more than just coming from an angle of oppression or not being included or not being inclusive. And we formed our circle as a small social group for LGBT couples, which eventually allowed us to do a study in 2017 where we were able to generate data, small data, baseline data that we've used in our advocacy, where we were able to outline that over 100 LGBT couples were raising children within Belize. And we started doing research into what that meant for us. And from that research, we started to realize that there were several legislations which governed families, which governed couples, which looked beyond just the basic inclusion as persons, but looking at us as a family, a unit, a group of people who are sharing assets, who are investing time, energy, and money in each other, and realizing that majority of the legislations which were in place to protect couples and families did not give the opportunity for our families or couples to be protected. At that time, when we started our circle, we realized that majority of our we don't call it membership, we call it volunteers. Majority of our volunteers were within the public sector, were paying social security, were pensionable, and because of the way that our families were created, we would not be afforded the same protection and opportunity as our heterosexual counterparts. So from that, our circle officially formalized, and we launched our NGO presence by creating the legal guidebook for LGBT Belizeans, where we looked at the legislations which exist, the legislations which protected families and couples in Belize. And we tried to see if there was any way for our families and our couples to be protected. However, and it's still an argument to this day if Belize does have an anti-discrimination legislation or if there's any anti-discrimination protection. However, the reality of the situation is because of how our relationships and families are made up, there's not much protection for us. There's not much protection for children. So that's where we are now here at our circle, looking at those policies and legislations and how we can promote a level of change or legal reform in order for families or children and our partners to be protected.
A few questions, right? The first one, an organization such as this, I presume, faces a lot of stigma and certain controversies. When you look at the traditional way in which families are set up, so to speak, right? You have a heterosexual environment where you're raising children. Now, this kind of arrangement is different, right? Where you have parents who are of the same sex.
Right.
How do you guys deal with the outside forces, so to speak, who are firm in their position and their beliefs that the family or the home should be created or should be fostered in such a way where you're dealing with man and woman raising children?
Well, one of the things I always tell people is, yes, that is what a lot of us might like to think of as a traditional family. But what we're really doing is we are just bringing to light the families that already exist. These are families that exist already, they have existed, and we are just allowing them to be represented. And this traditional nuclear family of one man and one woman, that is actually something that is not very common in Belize. And we see a lot of different family structures. We see single parents, we see grandparents raising their grandchildren, we see older siblings raising the younger siblings, we see neighbors, aunties, uncles coming together and raising other people's children, and we see a lot of that. So we see a lot of diverse family structures, right? And so it's not something that's very foreign. It's not something that's
nuclear
very
family
new.
It's taboo in a manner of speaking.
Right. Yeah. So our families that we represent would fall right into that, into those categories of those diverse family structures. It's not something that we are new to in this country. The only difference is, well, it might be 2 women, 2 men, 1 woman, 1 man, whatever the case is.
So then talk about the reasons for legislation reform then, or revising, because for the, if this is the nature or the family set up for so long, in the sense that it's diverse, it's not, you know, not as nuclear mommy daddy as we would like to think, do those families then fall under the same line of what you all are trying to protect?
Some of them do. A lot of them do. A lot of people, if you are a step parent or if you adopt children and things like that, a lot of these legislations would affect your family.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
Go ahead.
An interesting thing, especially in the introduction of our legal guidebook, what we made mention to is that although it is, the cover of the book says that it is a legal guidebook for LGBT persons here in Belize, we encourage single parents to read that guidebook. We encourage these diverse families to read that guidebook, because sometimes it's not until something happens that they realize that, you know what, we weren't as protected as we are. What we see here in Belize, and even with our Caribbean counterparts, is that everybody's comfortable in their now, but it's only when tragedy hits that people realize, oh, well, I didn't know I wouldn't have access to their social security benefits. I didn't know I wouldn't be able to qualify as a beneficiary from their insurance. I didn't know that the pension wouldn't cover their stepchildren. So for us, while we're bringing it and have crafted it in a way that our LGBT persons would become more aware, a lot of these discrepancies and discrimination, which is riddled in our legislation, applies to beyond LGBT persons.
Talk to us about then how our circle is engaging with these other families that are not necessarily LGBTQ families, and then how you all come together to kind of address the stigma that lives in our society.
Well, while our focus is primarily LGBT families, and we will always be open in saying that is our primary focus, we always will tell people that a lot of our services that we offer is open to any family that might not be considered that traditional nuclear family, or what we might think is that traditional nuclear 1 man, 1 woman. And so we do tell people who might fall somewhere in that diverse family that these services are available to them, and that they should familiarize themselves with the legislation, with the guidebook, so that they can be aware of how they would be affected.
Okay, so let's get into the fellowship. Right, let's talk about that, because I know Daricia has to log off soon. Yes, so speak to us about what it is and why we are even addressing it right now.
Right. So the fellowship, this is an initiative supported by the Canada Fund for Local Initiatives, and it was actually an offshoot of the Human Rights Defenders Project, which was a project funded by the British High Commission and the Fondo Centro Americano de Mujeres, and supported by Beltrade sorry, it's a long name, but a lot of people are familiar. They're based in Central America. So that particular project was to strengthen the capacity of human rights defenders in Belize. But what we saw the need for was to bring human rights advocates together, because we have so many different advocates and so many different advocacy groups, and they're doing a lot of great work, right? But what we think is important is for us to bring those efforts together and to collaborate, because one of the important things about advocacy is to remember the intersectionalities. While I may be representing one group and somebody else might be representing another group, within our groups we might have people who fall within those two categories or within those vulnerable communities. And so it's very important as advocates to come together and see how our joint efforts will make a larger impact. So that's one of the main reasons for us starting the fellowship.
Okay. So this is something that you all are carrying out. This is not something like an initiative that comes from outside. This is an Our Circle initiative. Okay, so
I think I would want to say it's more than an Our Circle initiative, because from the project which Danae referred to, the Strengthening Human Rights Defenders, we had independent advocates, we had sexual reproductive and health advocates from BFLA, we had human members from the Human Rights Commission. We had different advocates coming together, and from there creating that need. What Our Circle did was just identify funding, refine the concept, and identify ways for us to actually make it happen. So I think we'd be doing the participants from the previous project we would be diminishing their input on the creation of this project by saying it's just an Our Circle project. It's a group of human rights defenders who came together and saw the need that we needed to identify a way to work together, to identify a way to find common ground for us to move forward with the work that we do.
How does an initiative such as this improve the state of affairs or quality of life for persons who fall within this category?
Well, with this fellowship, the interesting thing is the way that it was actually designed. We are looking at having discussion and discourse, which would pretty much cover the basics of advocacy, looking at advocacy steps, looking at how to engage stakeholders and policymakers, as well as looking at how they can understand and appreciate the human rights structures which already exist. So the fellowship has three components, which is the discussion and discourse, where we're not going to insult anyone's intelligence and teach them how to be advocates, but pretty much to discuss best practices in different areas, as well as looking at field visits for different human rights structures which exist. And the even more interesting thing is the part where these fellows will come together, identify amongst themselves areas that they would like to champion, and then having a lobbying day. So what we will see is at the end of this fellowship, while funding may be finished, we will already have had the wheel moving from the lobbying day, where we've identified areas where we want to champion collectively. So it's still not us saying, we want to champion women's rights, children's rights, LGBT rights. It would be the fellows coming together after identifying our intersectionality and saying, okay, well, this is something that we can see common between all of us here, and this is what we want to champion. And sometimes it's just taking that coordination for us to be able to move a bit further, a bit more structured, and of course create that impact that we can't do alone.
So tell us, when is this initiative taking place, and who all is going to be a part of it? Or are you inviting the general public to be a part of it?
Okay, so the deadline has actually been extended to the 27th of August. It was originally the 20th, but we have extended it to the 27th. And then the week after that, we will start the interviews to vet the applicants. And so we are looking to start about the first week in September.
Okay.
And who qualifies is anybody who sees themselves as an advocate, who wants to champion these initiatives, who fall within the age range of 20 to 35 years.
Okay.
So we are targeting a younger group of people. We are primarily targeting young people who are young to advocacy and new to advocacy to see some new fresh faces in the advocacy realm.
Is this like a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, weekly?
A continuous
process.
So the fellowship lasts for 6 months.
Okay.
And so the discourse and discussions that Derisa mentioned, those will be kind of spread out across those 6 months. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 8 discussions every 3 weeks or something like that. So it's spread out, and then there's also the field visits that will be spread out in between. And these field visits will be to different human rights organizations. And we have with that the support of the NAC, the National AIDS Commission, the Human Rights Commission, the National Women's Commission. And so they field visits and they discourse and discussion. And there will also be some one-on-one conversations with the fellows and advisors, so to speak, or people coordinating the project throughout that 6 months.
So, because it's a fellowship, right? Do I get something when I'm done, like a certificate, a diploma, or do I just get like bragging rights?
You definitely get bragging rights, but we will give a certificate at the end, and it is also free to apply. It is free to sign up.
So it's like a certificate of completion that you've undergone this particular course?
Correct. So once you have completed, I can't recall what's the exact number, but you have to complete majority of the sections. So if it's 8 field visits, I believe you have to do at least 6 of those. Not field visits, the discussions to complete. So once you have finished majority of the work, the fellowship, you will get a certificate of completion.
Okay, so September you said?
September.
And it's for 6 months?
6 months.
All right, so when they're done, you'll come back again and talk to us about
Definitely.
Perfect. Well, Danae, thank you so much for coming in. I know Derisa had to leave, but please give her our thanks as well.
Sure.
And we hope that all goes well with the fellowship.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, we're going to take our next break. And when we get back, we have our second segment with the Queen of the Bay. So stay tuned.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
We were born connected to the water, the deep blue, the soil, the salt air, sheer abundance, ritual, water, expectation of the catch, the wind and waves. What lay beneath filled our bellies, sustained our communities. But song fell to a whisper. Her rituals were lost. Communities changed. But now, that song beckons us back to the sea. The generations that came before and for the generations still to come. Thriving abundant sea is possible. Rebuilding fish populations can be our legacy.
Applying for a Social Security sickness benefit? Here's what you need to know. A complete claims package include 1. Sickness claim form fully completed by the claimant and medical doctor. 2. Salaries record form completed by the employer or HR representative. 3. Proof of bank account such as bank book, online banking, or statement displaying your name and account number. To submit via email, you need to take a clear photo or scan of the documents and email to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz. Be sure to include your full name, social security number, and benefit type in the subject line of the email. Deadline to submit is 14 days from your first day of illness. All forms are available on the website at www.socialsecurity.org.bz. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Summer is coming to an end, so let's end it with a bang. Come see kids from all over the country while they take center stage to show off their talent on Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2022. That's right. Mark your calendars. Friday, August 26th at 6:30 a.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive. Come and start your morning right with kids singing and dancing. Also, come take advantage of great food, entertainment, and loads of back-to-school giveaways, including gifts for the first 100 kids who enter the fest. And the best thing of all, entrance is free. So, what are you waiting for? Set your alarm and pencil in that date because Summerfest 2022 is one event you don't want to miss.
Good morning, and we are back with our Queen of the Bay of 2022, Maslin Hanson. Good morning, Maslin.
Good morning.
I mean, you were here last week talking to us about your journey. You were here talking to us about how the competition was going and so forth, and now you are finally the reigning Queen of the Bay.
Well, I'm the Queen designate. I won't be official until September 10th after my coronation.
Okay, nice. Well, you got the crown, but we done tell you that the queen. You don't win. You don't win the competition. So talk to us about the competition itself. Talk to us about the pageant that occurred on Saturday and the overall feeling.
Well, it was an enjoyable experience. I am so glad that I got the group of girls to work along with. The other delegates were amazing, and we inspired each other in so many ways for this week. The pageant is a memorable pageant. It's one I've been wanting to take part in for so long, and now that it's gone, I'm like, please, let's do another one.
So, okay, you did mention this last week about how you always wanted to be a part of it. Why? Why Queen of the Bay?
Well, for one, being a little girl, always watching the TV and seeing the girls in the fancy dresses and doing that grace look. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? But I think another reason that made me actually took a part of the pageant this year is because I also see the Queen of the Bay as an ambassador and as a leader, and as someone I want to see everyone look up to me as a leader and a role model. So that is what actually pushed me to take part this year, because I was always like, maybe when I'm 21, maybe when I'm 20, but I'm 19, and I said, this is my year. This is the year I'll do it.
I think the idea of being looked up to as an ambassador, as a role model, in many ways supersedes the idea of just having someone that's pleasing to the eye on the stage and someone who can strut her stuff in a manner of speaking. I think being able to have other young women or teenage girls look up to you for something more than just the physical attribute, to say, look, this is someone who's intelligent and driven, and above all, is representing the jewel in the longest running pageant, I think is something to look up to.
Yes.
When you were chosen on Saturday night, when you won, what was the immediate feeling when you look at all of these things?
Gratitude. I wouldn't have been here without the support of my family and friends. If they didn't push me, I guess I would still be at home at this time, probably sleeping. No, I'd be at school. But gratitude, giving thanks, that's the only feeling that I experienced on Saturday night. I was satisfied because it was a long journey.
I want to talk about, because you talk about being an ambassador of Belize, right? Talk about your mandate. Now that you are going to be crowned on September 10th and so forth, what are the first things that you plan to do in terms of community service and advocacy?
Well, like some of the other delegates told me, they love that I have already started my advocacy, because they said when I speak, it's like I'm living what I'm saying. And I can relate to that, because when people ask me, what are your next plans? I don't know, I just take any opportunity that comes my way and I see it filling, I'll do it. So for now, as a child parliamentarian, I am looking forward to working with the new recruitments that have been selected. And then as the country coordinator for the Commonwealth Youth Peace Ambassadors Network, SAIPAN, I am looking for recruitment so we can have more voluntary activities within the communities. But not only that, I'm going to work with the other Queen delegates in their districts so we can push more initiatives, because I don't want that now that I am the reigning Queen that I won't do anything. I'm a woman of integrity, and I'm going to do something in every district before my reign is over.
Oh, so you have she have a plan.
Yeah, of course. You have to have a plan.
She has to have a plan. But no, I appreciate you talking about continuing the advocacy of your other fellow delegates, because usually it's one mandate, you have a particular platform that you want to push as the reigning queen, but it's nice to hear that it's you're pushing for others as well. Talk to us about what is the one thing that you think other young ladies should look up to when it comes to Queen of Debate?
I think other young ladies should look up to have confidence, because going on that stage, many people tend to shy away and say, I don't think I can go in front of a crowd and do it. But if you know yourself and you know your capabilities and you have faith in your abilities, you can go there and shine, because everyone shines in their own way. So just have confidence and don't be fearful. Shine.
I know, but you are I think that you've always had that, because she's been on the show several times before Queen of the Bay, right? She's been here representing different communities and different organizations. So when it comes to saying, not shy away, that might be easier for others and harder for others. So doing this competition, what has it taught you in terms of, strengthening some of the areas that you thought were maybe something you needed to improve on?
Well, knowing that the mind is a powerful tool. Sometimes the work became overwhelming and I wanted to quit. But they encouraged me and said, Maslin, you can do this. And I was like, why are you even talking like that? I can't have negative thinking. I have to always think positive and know that when adversity comes, we face it and we can overcome anything, because as a woman, we're resilient, we're strong, and we're powerful beyond measure.
I feel like she's still up on that the
stage, right?
Yeah, she's still on the stage. You don't win, you know.
No, it's good. I appreciate your outlook and your strength and your composure as a young woman. Yeah. Very rare these days you actually find young women who have that same kind of drive and fervor. So that's to be commended.
I agree, 100%. Maslin, the journey, right? Because I know we had you guys last week and each of you had your own specific idea of how the journey went. When you went into this pageant, what did you expect? And did it live up to those expectations, or did you get other new ideas of how a pageant actually runs?
Well, like I said, it was a dream. So I believe everyone comes in with the idea that it will always flow smoothly and you don't have to put in that work because it was already a dream. But it came with a lot of work and I had to work twice as hard. And being a delegate from Stankirk, you know, they say you come from the land of the queens. Yes, it may have caused a little bit more pressure, but you know, it also provided more encouragement to me. And that's what I loved about this journey, that, you know, I realized that if you want something, you have to work hard for it. It takes a lot of dedication and determination.
How long were you in this journey for with the other delegates?
Well, I had a local pageant. So my journey actually started July 16th. However, I was interested about taking part in this pageant from last year, but I didn't take it seriously. I was like, maybe 2022 is my year. But then for my New Year's resolution, it was about evolving me, wanting to do more for Maslin Hanson, being more involved and giving back, contributing, because that's me, service before self. So with that, I took it up on myself to enter this pageant on July 16th. I won. I said, okay, now we have a big one. Can't I just settle for Miss Stankirk? And they're like, no, you already began, so you have to finish it now. I was like, okay. I just had many paranoias, especially with the curtsy. I just didn't want to fall on that stage.
On a more personal note, let's talk about where you see yourself going forward, like in terms of your academic pursuits, in terms of perhaps your professional outlook and what have you.
Okay. So right now I'm a third-year nursing student at the University of Belize. I plan to finish my bachelor's in nursing soon because it's a 4-year program. Then I am going to keep involved. I'm also a part of the University of Belize Debate Club, and I'm an orientation group leader, which is also considered an ambassador at the University of Belize. So I will give back to my institution because they are the ones who have been supporting me along this journey. I'll give back to my community because my community is of love and you have to give your service where it's due. So I'll be finishing up with my academics, continue giving back, and also see if there's a path for me to get more serious in my road to become an honorable member.
Oh,
I'm looking at this. I was looking at the video of you doing the curtsy, and I'm listening to you, and you know, she sounds just so ready and prepared and everything. But looking at this, right, what was going through your mind?
Please don't fall. My dress, it was made by Miss Ranella Rucania, and
it's beautiful.
She's a Belizean designer, and the dress is of quality, so it was, you know, kind of heavy. Okay. But it's good. I love my dress. So I was like, I just hope this dress I can showcase this dress and give it the justice it deserves.
Yeah, I mean, how long did you take to go? This is a little bit fast forwarded. Like, I think 10 seconds, 15 seconds to go down and go up back. Yeah, about it?
I'm not sure.
Let's go back.
She asked about the curtains and now they're playing it, and I'm like, oh my God, I hope she doesn't fall. Well, you didn't, right? But the initial moment of truth.
Please don't fall, Maslin. Please don't fall.
Let's go back a bit, Maslin. I'm latching on to something that you said earlier with the idea of becoming an honorable member. Do you see yourself or a future in Belizean politics?
Yes, I do. That's why I also started my journey in the Children's Parliament. I am a member of the Children's Parliament, but I'll be moving on to the technical committee soon, since they have already selected the new participants in that organization.
But you're a student of nursing.
Yes.
So are you looking to shift gears later on, or do you want to continue in that medical path?
Well, nursing is all about compassion. I want to give my hands-on service, because every life you encounter, you can change it in one way or another. So I will be continuing in nursing and see where the future takes me, because the qualities of a nurse and the qualities of a politician can, correlate. We're kind, we want to help, and we want to give our service.
But how do you look at the existing landscape to want to become a part of it? Because a lot of times young people, when they look at politics, there's a sense of detachment. Like, we don't want to engage because we see how grown men and women carry once they are elected to office. So how do you see yourself in that whole political fray?
Well, it all goes down to being true to your morals and values. If you want to do something, you have to do it with integrity, you have to do it with honesty and truth. And that's me, that's what makes me Maslin. That's what I want to continue, and I won't let anything change me from being that person that I am.
19 years old, Queen of the Bay. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers?
Thank you. Thank you. An endless amount of thank you. I wouldn't even be here without you all. It's still, this journey, it's still processing in my mind, like, but all I have to say is just a big, huge thank you.
You're not over yet. It's just, the work is just beginning.
Yes.
And we hope to see what it is that you're going to put forth for us. We hope to see great things, Maslin.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
And with that, we are going to take a next break, and we will be back with the Regional Classic Powerlifting Championship. You know the powerlifters, huh?
No, I don't.
Okay, well, they'll be in studio to tell us all about how they did it. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after this.
With eCash, bill payment is extremely convenient, and all utility companies accept eCash payments. What's even better? You get to split bills with your roommates, siblings, or whoever you desire. Simply open your eCash app, go to Bill Pay, tap the respective utility company, enter the information, and pay the bill. Then tap the transaction made. Tap Split the bill. Select Evenly. Send the request to who you are splitting the bill with, and get notified when they pay. Talk about making life easy and avoiding confusion. You can split the bill for restaurants, grocery stores, and for any eCash payment you make. To find your next yummy meal, hair treatment, or chill spot, simply open the app and utilize the geolocation service to see nearby businesses that accept eCash. Geolocation and bill payment make life a whole lot easier.
Donaldson Filtration Solutions is a company that comes with over a century of innovation and offering filters for a cleaner world. To keep your machines and equipment running in the toughest conditions, you need filters that work as hard as you do. Donaldson offers hydraulic filters, air filters, fuel filters, lube filters, and anything needed to keep your machine pristine. Come to your nearest Westtrack Limited store for Donaldson filters and whatever your industrial or trucking needs might be.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Summer is coming to an end, so let's end it with a bang. Come see kids from all over the country while they take center stage to show off their talent on Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2022. That's right. Mark your calendars Friday, August 26th at 6:30 a.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive. Come and start your morning right with kids singing and dancing. Also, come take advantage of great food, entertainment, and loads of back-to-school giveaways, including gifts for the first 100 kids who enter the fest. And the best thing of all, entrance is free. So, what are you waiting for? Set your alarm and pencil in that date because Summerfest 2022 is one event you don't want to miss.
Your Tuesday night entertainment is back. KTV The Remix Season 4.
KTV.
Come on out and win fabulous prizes and the chance to compete in our halftime challenge. Tickets are available at Channel 5 on Coney Drive at $3 for children and $5 for adults. Mask will be required. Or you can watch it live on Channel 5 or streaming on Facebook. The show starts at 8 p.m. at the Bliss Center for the Performing Arts. KTV The Remix Season 4. It's hot, it's live, and it's only on 5.
Dwayne Moody, Isani Cayetano, Marian Ali, Paul Lopez. Your News 5 Belize teams do whatever it takes. Go wherever they need to go, so you can catch the story wherever you are, whenever you want, on whatever device. Channel 5 Belize on television, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Because news is now everywhere, all the time. And so are we.
Whether you're at home, on the road, at work, or at school, if you see news happening or suspect that something might be up, call or text the Channel 5 News Belize tip line at 672-5555. You don't have to give us your name, just give us the tip. That's 672-5555. Call or text us so we can check it out.
And we'll be back in a few, so stay tuned. Thanks, Jen. Hey there, we know you have to head out to work shortly, but don't forget that you can stay tuned by watching us on our Facebook live stream. Find us at Open Your Eyes BC, and you can continue watching there. You can also download Facebook Watch on your streaming device, and you can watch at your own convenience.
And for all the behind-the-scenes fun, follow us on Instagram at OYE Belize. So,
find us
and follow us
today.
When someone you love becomes a memory, the memory becomes a treasure. Channel 5 introduces the Daily Obituaries. The Daily Obituaries will broadcast all death and funeral announcements and memorials to honor your loved one's life and memories. The Daily Obituaries airs on Channel 5 prior to the evening newscast, with subsequent repeats at 10 p.m. and 12 noon the following day. It will also be placed online on our social media platforms, all for a standard package fee. Celebrate their lives and memories with Channel 5's Daily Obituaries. Honor in life and reverence in death.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, won't even try.
Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. People die every day, I'm not going with ya. I'ma find my own way, I'm not going with ya. It's okay, I'll wait. Even good people make mistakes. I don't wanna realize when it's too late. Drinking and driving is never safe. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. If you're drinking and driving, I'm not going with ya. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try. Been drinking all night, feeling so high. Better not drive, ain't gon' try.
And we are back with a full stage of persons joining us from the NAPF Regional Classic Powerlifting Championships is our Belizean champions. Good morning. So we have a list, and we have with us joining us is the president of the Belize Powerlifting Association. Okay. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Great. So we have Khalid Usher, the president, and then we have Jacqueline Alas, vice president, and then the athletes are, well, no stranger to the television. You have Miss Alida Sharp, Edith Ruiz, Leo Matura, Robert Williams, Nerissa Shaw, and William Murillo. Congratulations to all of you and welcome home.
Thank
so I
you.
guess whosoever wants to begin first, let's talk about powerlifting in general. And you know, we don't really hear that much except for when you guys go out and you win competitions. So talk to us about how this association came about and what are the future plans?
Well, just to start, myself again, I'm the president of the association. Whenever I'm out there, everyone's frightened because you don't usually see young people trying to head these kinds of things, right? It started in 2018. Myself and some of my friends, we went to Mexico to compete at their national competition. But what happened is that we weren't able to qualify for any medals. And so we thought to ourselves that if no one's going to do it, then we should probably do it. So again, we were in university. We took on the big task of starting it, and then we went out the first time in 2018 to the NAPF at that time, which was in Mexico City. And we came back with 3 medals that time as well, and we came back with medals again this year. Again, it's been growing. Powerlifting is a sport based on strength. But not only strength, it's an athletic sport. It's an inclusive sport, and that's what separates it from a lot of sports you may have known or are accustomed to. Like if you look at the stage, the athletes we sent, we're very colorful, to
say the least. Right?
To say the least, right? Again, just for example, at our national this year, Narissa's son was the youngest competitor. He's only 12 years old. And he was competing, lifting weights, the same thing any of us do, he was doing. And our oldest competitor was 78 years old, right? Again, doing the same thing we do. There's no like, we don't give them any like, that say, oh, you're young or you're this old, too old. We judge them the same way, which is harshly. So we hold everyone is held to the same standards. And that goes to show how, again, the inclusivity of the sport and how serious we are about the sport. Everyone is given the same chance, right?
Let's talk about the competition and the classes and divisions, because like you said, we have a very colorful team on stage. So what did Belize qualify for?
Okay, so at this competition, we sent 8 athletes. William Murillo was our only junior athlete this year. Again, a testament to how inclusive the sport is, how easy it is to get into. The first time William picked up a barbell, any weight whatsoever, was last year, August. And he secured a bronze medal within a year of doing powerlifting, which is an amazing feat. We were telling everyone out there, and they were like, what? And the thing is, he even made an attempt to pull for second place. It was a very competitive class, and he had everyone on their toes. It ranged all the way up to Miss Alida, who was our Masters 2 competitor for the women's 52 kilo class. Again, that was a lot of classifications I just listed. It's very detail oriented. And then we have Mr. Robert Williams, who was our Masters 1 athlete for the 120 class. All the rest of us competed in the open category, which is between ages 23 to 39.
So let's talk to William and Robert and Alida about all of what Khalid just said means. So let's start with you, Miss Alida.
Well, what it means for me, I'm a Masters 2. So that means I compete against women who are 50 to 59 years old, who weigh 52 kilos, which is 114.4 pounds. So the category that I'm in just includes that group of people.
Okay. How many people were competing in your category?
In my category, unfortunately, it was pretty small because it was just me.
So you might win.
But what I did, because I knew that I was competing against numbers. Okay. So what I did at that competition, I knew, at my age, there aren't that many people in my category. So what I was competing against was the numbers. I looked at all of the North American records for my weight class and age group. And I broke and set 3 new records, and I tied the 4th one. Wow. So I earned my gold medal.
Yes. And you, Mr. Robert?
Well, I'm Robert Williams. Everybody pretty much know me because I was a strongman competitor in Belize for the past 4 years. And thankfully for the Belize Powerlifting Federation and Khalid, being that they got this program going due to the pandemic, and we was no longer had strongman. Man, it was a great opportunity that they allow us to do the powerlifting. So I competed in the Masters 120 kilo. 120 kilo was basically maximum weight 264. I came in around 257, so I had a little bit of room to eat, unlike the other athletes. So I competed against two other competitors, one from the United States and also from Mexico. And I had already had in my mind, my set that I was going to come back and bring back something to the Jewel, because I train and I train and I train. I sometimes get up early in the morning or in the evening, but I make sure that I put in the effort. If it's raining, if it's shining, it doesn't matter, because I know that it's a bigger thing that I wanted to accomplish. And I went to Panama and I accomplished it, and I brought back the gold to our country.
What was that like in terms of your mental preparation? Because outside of getting ready physically, a lot of it has to do with your mindset as well. Describe that for us.
Well, me, I say, man, with powerlifting, it allows you to become a very confident individual. I was very confident. I came in there with smiles. A lot of people from different countries, I greet them, I intertwine with them, I took pictures with them. But on game day, I was ready, and I was focused. And my mind was that whatever weight they put on that bar, I'm gonna lift it, and I'm gonna bring back gold, because I know that we wasn't recognized at first before we came out here, but when we came back, and then they realized that this is not a small competition. This is the best of the best in the North America. That's from Canada all the way down to South America.
So I want to talk to the other athletes, because it seems like it's just this wide scope of different classes and divisions. So you started last year. What made all of you join?
Well, I originally joined the gym to lose some weight, because before the pandemic I used to play basketball, but when the pandemic came, they stopped contact sports. So I gained a lot of weight during the pandemic, and I just joined the gym to lose some weight. Fortunately, my trainer was Khalid, who is a powerlifter, and Khalid, my first month at the gym, Khalid had me doing a lot of HIIT exercises to lose weight, and he asked me if I wanted to try powerlifting, and I told him I would do it for a month, and then that month went to 2 months, and then that month went and then 2 months went to a year.
So he was the influence.
Yes, and then I said I would do it for a year and stop, and then our nationals in May, that turned into it fueled a competitive drive in me to just want to go. And especially, in my first year, to be able to win a medal here in Belize and at Panama. It's a good first experience. It started off rough because I failed my first squat. So the comeback was mental before physical. I know I had the strength, but
to get back up and do it again.
So, and I'm already excited. I was telling Khalid already that when we get back to Belmapan, I want to go in the gym this afternoon, because I already have goals for next year. And I want to improve on this bronze, hopefully a silver or a gold.
And for the rest of you?
Well, pretty much for me, I joined the gym. I have always been athletic, so I wanted to join the gym. And Kalon, my trainer, was he had already started doing powerlifting, and so slowly he started to introduce that to me, and from there then I met Jackie, and we were working out together, and I think that's what really motivated us, working out together and trying to achieve higher strengths in each one of the lifts. So yeah.
Leo, somebody else want to
well, I got into the gym. I think I have a laptop. I got into the gym primarily because I was overweight, and I was going through a high level anxiety. And one Christmas, I remember my mother gave me a gift card to Kinetic Fitness, and I slept on it for almost 2 months. And then I said, you know what? everything is still the same. I need to do something different. Let me just go to this gym. Luckily, I met my trainer, Tom Sai, and you know, he said, let me see how much push-ups you can do. Let me see how much pull-ups you can do. And he told me, for a fat person, you're actually pretty decent. So at that time, I weighed 205 pounds, you know.
You don't look like you may ever weigh 200.
No, now I'm at 159.
Wow.
And from there, I don't know what he was plotting, but he was plotting something clearly. And eventually, before I knew it, the first 2 years, I just did certain, movements that would set me up to be able to lift barbells and stuff. And in the third year, I started picking up weight, and then it just started moving from there. And he was like, "Yeah, you got something. Let's build on it."
And then you joined the association.
And then the first nationals, which was in 2021, I joined the association and competed in the nationals in the 83 kilogram, which was one class above where I am right now. I had placed gold in that. And then this recent nationals, I had cut weight all the way to 74 kg, and then I won gold in that as well. And then from there, we moved on to Panama. I don't know if you guys want to talk about the Panama competition, but it was...
Yeah? How it was cutthroat?
It was cutthroat. I was in one of the most competitive categories in that whole competition. And I was also the wild card in that competition because I was slated to finish 7th to last place. There was 9 competitors in there. And we just started jumping over everyone during the competition. And if it wasn't for my bench press, to be honest, because I had trained a certain way, on that stage, I learned that I couldn't use a certain grip, and I had to adapt on that stage.
Wow.
And he did it. He did it like a boss.
But if you had the film on it, you would see me cursing on that bench. It's just changed everything.
Wow.
So that took off like 5 to 10 kilograms off my bench press, and we had to go for the Hail Mary for the last deadlift. I could have placed the fort, but Khalid was like, "Man, we didn't come here for fort. Let's try the medal." And he played the whiz game, and we had everyone in the back room, all the head coaches just losing their mind. They were at the screens trying to calculate, because the way I lifted my second attempt, it definitely looked like I had whatever we were bluffing. We were bluffing. And on that third attempt, I did not know how much weight was on the bar. He had asked me, he was like, "Do you want to know how much weight is on the bar?" I said, "No." Because
that's going to mess with your mental, right?
Yeah, no, but I was already locked in. It was do or die for me. There was no quitting me at that day. I feel like I was just in the zone. And I have to thank my handlers, everyone that was around me at that time, that just kept me in that zone. And we went for the third attempt, and I broke it off the ground, but I could not had pull it off. I fell straight out of position, and even if I had picked it up, I would have gotten the call.
I mean, we don't tend to think about powerlifting the same way we do it like basketball or football and so forth. And so when it comes to training and getting ready and gearing up and so on, what advice would you give to somebody that wants to start this kind of?
Well, again, like you've heard the testimonies from everyone here, it all started by just going into the gym and finding, having a competitive drive and basically a love for being strong. It doesn't take a lot. The beauty about powerlifting is that you've heard the testimony from a lot of people. There are people who are athletic in the past, but may not have had enough time to dedicate to the sport they had growing up or something. They have full-time jobs now, and powerlifting is a good way for, after you're done it all that, it's just like an hour or two in the gym, you go home and you build on it gradually. Right, it's very inclusive. It's something that's very easy to get into. The community is amazing, and again, it can be done at any age.
Also, to add to Khalid, I think one thing with powerlifting is also, I saw this, as cliche as it sounds, a quote that says, when you lose motivation, you stay consistent, and then you gain back the motivation. And I think with powerlifting, that's what we look at. You just stay consistent, because you see us and you're like, oh, you guys are strong, and but like you mentioned, mentally,
yes,
in the gym you have some days you can't lift half the weight you know you can lift, and So you just stay consistent and then you trust the process. Because like even I relate powerlifting to each sport, to football, to softball, to basketball. You just gotta stick with it.
The only thing I want to add to that too is that when you're looking at getting into powerlifting, it's better to start with a trainer, to start with someone who knows what they're doing, because it's also a science. You're not gonna go, we call it PR, personal record. You're not going to go on PR every single week. It's a science about percentage, and I myself, I don't have a trainer. I am my own trainer. But in Belmopan, we have Khalid, who is very good. We have Kaelan, he's also a trainer. I want to say Night Quest. Leah's trainer, Tom, is here in Belize City. He's very good. I decided to do it like this because I want to be a trainer eventually, so I'm learning as we go by. And I'm thankful for Panama because it helped me to get a lot of exposure. It helped me to learn a lot being back there. Like everyone was filling in all the positions, so I had my chance to handle. Everyone here had their chance to handle each other, so it was a step forward.
Yeah.
And you know, the other thing about powerlifting, and Robert can attest to this, it's different from strongman in that it has some technical rules. There's a specific way that you have to accomplish each lift. So like when Khalid was saying that we judge everybody the same, there's a standard, and everybody has to meet that same standard. The squat has to reach a certain depth. You have to, use a certain grip.
Commands
and so it's
for your bench
the standards are very high. And so some people get frustrated with that. But if you train with a powerlifting coach or a powerlifting trainer, they will teach you those things.
Like she mentioned, it is a big change because in strongman you can use all kind of different elements. You can use straps, you can use equipments. A great friend of mine that I have to mention is Kevin. Kevin was one of the original members of the Belize Powerlifting Association. He came down to Belize City and he told me, he said, "Man, you have to go much lower on your squat. If you don't go lower, they will red flag you, and you won't be able to get what your goal is set for." Also, the advantage I love about powerlifting, I don't have nothing to say bad about bodybuilding, but see, bodybuilding is something that it takes a long time for you to take off your shirt and look that particular way. But with powerlifting, you could start seeing your gains right away, because the moment that you get into the gym and you keep your journal and you keep what you lift a week ago and then you do that lift in 2 weeks, it increases, and that's what makes you stay motivated to keep moving and moving further and further up. Because when I started powerlifting, my heaviest bench press was about roughly 315 pounds. I was able to bench for over 402 pounds out there in Panama, and then that's just from being consistent. So you never get bored. That's like, I could tell the whole country of Belize, you never get bored with powerlifting. It's not something that you say, "Hey, I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I ain't seen nothing yet. I've been doing this for 3 months, 4 months, a year, and I still don't see no gains." With powerlifting, you see those gains right away. Will could attest to that. 1 year and he's already got a bronze, and he almost pulled that silver. So it's something that, and I'm out of Belize City, so if you guys want to train and you want to build up in the city, then you can come.
I was just gonna say, it all sounds like you guys are recruiting the audience.
Yes, we are. We want more people.
Because it starts at sub junior. It starts at an age of, if I'm not mistaken, the IPF allow you to start at 14 years old. So this is an opportunity where, and you don't have to end. It's not where, man, you're getting old, your legs ain't, you're not fast enough anymore. They have all the way up to Masters 4. Masters 4 is 70 to 79. And they did have some individuals out there in their 70s. And if you see her in her shirt,
Alita is. We've seen Alita with her poses, and again, we have to be like she when we grow up.
So like I said, if you're in Belmopan, then I would suggest that you go to Powerhouse, or you could even go to Muscle Hut and meet up with Neri. If you're in Belize City, you could go right to Marion Jones. I'm right there. I'm there either in the morning or evening. But we're not just speaking of our gyms. Like we said, we want this to be kinetic also, right on the highway. And then we want individuals from down south, from all the way up north. We want all those particular areas, because they had people that have been training that's been getting stronger, and they never thought that they had a sport that could actually I've been in Belize over 23 years from living in the States, and this was my first opportunity to fly out and represent my country. So I wasn't gonna look bad, and I wasn't gonna, and that's why I put in the effort. Even when rainy days, you'll say, "Oh, I'm not going to the
See,
gym
that's
today.
the
It's raining."
thing, though. Like, I'm looking at all of you and I'm hearing all of these stories, and I'm like,
I just want to build on what he said, though. I think a monumental thing that we did at this Panama, and just as and Belize as well, is that you have to understand the competitors we went against were from countries that had populations of over millions.
Right.
And they seeded their talent based on the same nationals of over millions.
Right.
We were able to get our seeding from just right here in 400,000 people. That when we told that to people that we spoke to from other countries, they were blown away from that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because the ratio of strong people should have been less. But here,
I was gonna ask how many people were competing and so forth in the various. Yeah.
Okay, so the North American Powerlifting Federation hosts, like they mentioned before, from Canada all the way down to Panama. Even includes some countries like Guyana, throughout the Caribbean as well. So at these competitions, I think this one had close to 200 competitors. Right? Again, every class was stacked. I think for like Will's class, he had several juniors competing against. Leo's class was crazy. He had like 9 people in the class alone. Mine's had like 8 people. Narissa's had like 8 as well, and the same thing with Edith. We're not going up against like 1 or 2 people. We're going up against like several people, all from different countries, all who dedicated probably the same amount of time we've done or more. In Will's case, he's just been competing for a year, but they actually asked the competitors how long they've been competing. And everyone Will was competing against they've been competing for like years. Even though they're juniors, again, you can start as low as 12. They on their charts, it says they've been competing for like 7-8 years, and Will was right there with them.
Wow.
Right? Again, I think we did a really good job.
Yes, we think so too.
And also not to harp on this. We came only 8. We came 8 strong, and we came not being well known. These countries from Canada, United States, from different areas, Central American, they's like, who are these guys? But before we ended, they fell in love with Belize.
Yeah.
We have pictures. We've been networking with other federations from Jamaica, from Dominican Republic, from Panama, and they said, man, they want us to go to their nationals. They want us to see us. They want us to compete. They fell in love with Belize because they realized that we're a social country, and we love to become friendly with people. But when we came down to the platform, we did do what we had to do, and we came back with our medals and the accolades, and now it's just going to grow further. We're preparing to get ready for the Worlds. We're getting next year. It's going to be Cayman Island. So we got to get ready for Cayman Island, and we always got to continue training. So we can't have no day off, except for just to gloat for a couple of days.
This is your gloating opportunity. Yes,
I like you said, like we made a lot of connections at the championships. We've been invited to USA, we've been invited to Jamaica, we've been invited to the DR to compete at their competitions as well. We'll be doing the same for them. But more importantly, we've been given an opportunity to place a bid to hold the North American Championships here in Belize, which would be an amazing opportunity for us. Again, every year it's increasing. Our first time we went, it was only 3. This year we brought 8 people. The same thing for the other countries. The DR brought 4 people their first year, and this year they brought 13. By the time we're ready to put in a bid, which will be in 2025, we're looking at over 300 competitors. That's not including handlers, coaching staff, the staff for the competition itself. And we'll really be looking forward to possibly working with maybe the BTB, who helped us get there in the first place. We'll be looking forward to maybe working with them on maybe.
The bill.
Yeah.
Let me ask a quick follow-up question here then. So how are you guys with the National Sports Council at this point?
Again, with National Sports Council, they've been a huge help beginning the competition. There were some hiccups in trying to get back our registration, but again, all of it has been sorted out. It's the first thing to do today would be to we registered the Belize Powerlifting Association with the Sports Council because they've already pledged to help us going into the future. Again, it's a new administration, and we're very looking forward to working with them. They've been very receptive to the requests we've had and to our plans for the future. And so the future looks really bright for us.
And also talking about sponsorship too, we're going to be drawing our raffle tomorrow live on the Belize Powerlifting Association's Facebook or Instagram? Facebook and Instagram page. And we also have to thank the sponsors because we had people sponsors. All the prizes from that raffle were all sponsored prizes. So we have to say thanks to Ian Anderson's Caves branch, thanks to Hummingbird Furnishings, Upside Down Tours, Banana Bank Lodge, to Powerhouse and Kalon, because although he didn't compete, he has been supporting us. Also thanks to Kinetic Fitness, and I don't know if you guys have seen our video. We had a promotional video at the very beginning that was shot by Inside Out Studios, so a big thanks to Inside Out for that. Also he mentioned BTB. We even had a donor who also donated a large sum, but they preferred to be anonymous. Thank you still. Who else am I missing out?
I have to mention the Belize City sponsors because I was one that was behind on my finances and funds, and then I asked them to assist in the raffle. So I have to big up Cellular World, Michelle and Karan. They looked out and provided us a phone. Also, Celebrity Restaurants provided me a gift certificate. So if somebody going to be having a nice meal at Celebrity. And Queens Grab and Go, they also supplied a certificate. And my personal sponsor that been assisting me with my supplements is the health store right there on Central American Boulevard.
Well, guys, I mean, I wish we had more time, but any final thoughts and final words for our viewers? And of course, if anybody wants to get in touch to become a part of the Powerlifting Association, how can they do that?
Final words would be, again, we have a bright future ahead. We're slating our next national competition for the end of February or early March. We had almost 40 people competing this year. We're looking forward to more people next year. If you want to reach out to us, we on Instagram, on Facebook, Belize Powerlifting Association. They can contact me directly if they have any questions at 667-2091. Again, I'm Khaled Ashur, the president of the association. Let's make that known. But yeah, those are the final words I'd like to say.
Edith?
Also, I want to shout out to the Prime Minister because he bigged us up. Bigged up Jackie, and also he said he apologized for not being there when we arrived, but it was nice that he reached out and yeah.
I mean, one of the reasons why I think that we haven't gotten our footing yet is because it's a relatively new thing for Belize, but the fact that you guys compete and have made us proud ambassadors, I'm sure that there will be more sponsorship coming your way.
I would also like to say, being that it's new, we are getting our foot in at the right time, because in the next 2 years you'll definitely see the sport in the Olympics, and next year you'll most likely see it in the Commonwealth Games.
All right.
And we have our foot and presence in here.
All right, one last note.
I do have to, I didn't want to forget, I do have to look out and thank you for the Fort George, and I'm Henry Charles Usher. He assisted me as well before I left out, so I have to bring him and mention him because I am Fort George strong.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. We are proud of all of you, and you guys have done Belize a wonderful, wonderful job. So kudos, and we can't wait to see what all you have in store for us, right? And with that, we're going to take our final break, and we get back for a wrap-up, so stay tuned.
I'm always on the go, and the country is my home. So when I want to get away from it all, I immerse myself with my favorite movies, all from the new Smart Stream app. It's easy to use this service. Purchase your movies from the app and use your mobile data, Smart Stream data packages, or smart broadband to stream and enjoy. Be like me and stream on the go with Smart Stream.
Thank you for supporting us throughout our journey over the years. Thank you for helping us to expand and improve our products and services. Thank you for allowing us to form new partnerships and develop new and exciting promotions. And thank you for being patient with us during these changing times. As we continue our journey, we would like to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve you.
Venice, celebrating 75 years. Quality and savings. Quality and savings.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Summer is coming to an end, so let's end it with a bang. Come see kids from all over the country while they take center stage to show off their talent on Open Your Eyes Summerfest 2022. That's right. Mark your calendars, Friday, August 26th at 6:30 a.m. at Channel 5 on Coney Drive. Come and start your morning right with kids singing and dancing. Also, come take advantage of great food, entertainment, and loads of back-to-school giveaways, including gifts for the first 100 kids who enter the fest. And the best thing of all, entrance is free. So, what are you waiting for? Set your alarm and pencil in that date because Summerfest 2022 is one event you don't want to miss.
And we are back just like that. We still have our folks from the Powerlifting Association here to say goodbye to all of you all. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning with us as we opened up your week and open up your Monday. But before we go, we got a few birthday shout outs to give out. Isani.
We're saying happy birthday this morning to Rashida Arzu, and this is coming from your godmother, Latrice Lopez. There she is.
Happy birthday. And I have a very special shout out. I'd like to say a big happy birthday to my friend and co-director at HENB, Sylvia Batig. Happy birthday. We hope you have a wonderful birthday today, filled with lots of love and blessings. So happy birthday to you all. Happy birthday to all of you who have a birthday and we didn't say happy birthday. And if you have another birthday shout out or a question or a concern, you can always drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com, or you can catch our live stream on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BC and our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. We will see you tomorrow morning when you open your eyes.
To start your morning right.
Keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
Have a good day. Goodbye, Belize.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.